Can we throw it? No. No. No, we are done. Your pretty cover deceived me. And I'm ticked off because it looked so stinking pretty. I would have wanted to love this. And I'm mad because it sucks on so many levels. Time for round number 2. So last time we discovered that judging book by a cover is a good idea if you've read a lot of books, because you're probably going to be spot on. Maybe not on what you would like, but definitely spot on what you won't like. So that was kind of my conclusion from that video. Today's experiment is going to be our rainbow books, because they look bright and cheery. Is the content inside going to reflect that? My guess is no, based off of these covers, but we shall see what happens. I've made some predictions about this. I'm going to kind of tell you how I think my ranking of these is going to go before I do the read a chapter kind of challenge. So this first book, 1,000 Steps, I think is going to be kind of old school crime novel fiction. So it'll probably be written in third person, past tense, might have a lot of telling, and probably not going to like it. Then we've got this one, The Wise Women, which I think is going to be very much so literary fiction, so slow pacing, not a lot of plot, so I'm probably not going to like it, even though I love the cover. And then this one, Dead Astronauts, I think I'm gonna love. I love sci-fi, and it's got astronauts, and it's a pretty cover, but I don't think it's gonna be a bright and cheery story. It might be kind of like Interstellar-esque or something like that, but alright, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start, and today I'm going to be trying a chapter and going from what I think I'll like least to what I think I'll like most, and let's see if my predictions were correct or if I'm misjudging books based off of their cover. First page read, I already see it says Laguna Beach, which I did think that it was going to be like some sort of coastal city based off of the cover, because it did have some palm trees in the bottom part. And it is in June 1968, which kind of explains the rainbow and the makeup that the girl had on. So usually if I would see that date for a book, I would automatically not read it. Which is why the next experiment is going to be trying out historical fiction. But anyway, yes. New morning on a waking city, and a heaving dark sea, and on a boy, Matt Anthony, pedaling his bicycle up Pacific Coast Highway. His fishing rod strapped to the rack behind him, whips and wobbles in the air. A tackle box rattles and bounces beside it. He's pedaling hard for Thalia Street, where the cop cars and fire engines and the ambulance are clustered. Lights flashing. He skids to a stop on the sidewalk and props his bike against the wall of the corner surf shop. Hustles past the vehicles to the stairs leading down to the beach, and finds a body. No, I don't know. But I wouldn't be surprised. Where were we at? Okay, jams his hand into his poncho against the chill and joins the T Street surf boys, who have gathered to watch the cops. Matt recognizes two of the surfers as just graduated seniors from his high school. Cool guys, friends of his sister, but they ignore him, wetsuits slung over their shoulders and boards at their sides, all their attention on the dark beach below. The waves break almost invisibly with overlapping echoes that end abruptly, then repeat. Yeah, I'm really thinking there's going to be a body soon. It's hard for Matt to see what's going on down there, but he's a curious 16-year-old, so he clambers down the stairs to the beach, his rock-worn sneakers slapping on the concrete, then thudding in the sand. He gets up close, where he sees through a knot of Laguna Beach cops, standing in a loose circle, a pale girl lying face up on a slab of rock. Her arms are spread, and her hair is laced with seaweed. A black bomber-style jacket covers her middle. Matt's ears roar as they do when he sees something that causes strong emotion. It's like rushing water. A young officer jogs past him, his holster and duty belt clanking, and a blanket tucked under one arm. One of the other cops yanks the blanket from him and spreads it over the girl. Then he looks over at Matt. He's Bill Furlong, the big LBPD sergeant whose badgers and bust the hippies in town. Oh, who badgers and busts the hippies in town, cuffing and herding them, sometimes 6 or 8 at a time, into a windowless white prisoner van the locals call Moby Cop. Okay, I'm going to keep reading the chapter, and I'll give y'all an update, but so far, nothing to make me DNF. I actually read all the way through chapter 2. So I was right that it was going to have, like, an adult's kind of crime type feel to it, but I'm not disliking it. It is a very kind of removed writing style. It doesn't feel like first person. It doesn't have that kind of immediacy. It does feel like the story is being told to you. However, the sentence structure itself provides for easy flow of the sentences. So, like, when you're reading them, you don't get stuck and jumbled up and have to go back and read to figure out what the sentence was trying to tell you. So it's very, very easy to read. Also, the author's done a really good job with the pacing because the first chapter, of course, there's the dead body. And then with the second chapter, we found out that his sister didn't come home that night. So we've already got 2 things. Plus, the end of the first chapter, the cop was talking to him, asking about his mom, and he says that he had saw his mom, not the boy, but the cop says that he had saw his mom in a certain part of the neighborhood where it's, like, known for a lot of crime, and it's mostly just where people go to buy drugs. So he's like, I don't know why my mom would be hanging out over there, but when he gets home, his mom has been smoking weed upstairs. And it's very common that she does that. And also it's very common that the sister goes out clubbing with her friends, even though she's underage. And apparently this main teenage boy actually made a fake ID for her. So there's lots of things that could happen in this that do make it interesting to me. But I am going to go ahead and read y'all the blurb itself. Let's see if this is really going to get interesting, or if it's not really going to tell us that much. Oh my. Oh, I read that as different initials. I thought it was saying FDL, but it didn't. I don't know why I thought that. Anyway, Laguna Beach, California, 1968. The age of Aquarius is in full swing. Timothy Leary is a rock star. LSD is God. Folks from all over are flocking to Laguna, seeking peace, love, and enlightenment. 16-year-old Matt Anthony is just trying to get by. His mom's a stoner. His deadbeat dad, a no-show. His brother's fighting in Nam. His big sister, Jazz, has just gone missing. The cops figure she's just another runaway hippie chick, enjoying a summer of love, but Matt doesn't believe it. Not after another missing girl turns up dead on the beach. In a town where the cops don't trust the hippies and the hippies don't trust the cops, uncovering what's really happened to Jazz is going to force Matt to grow up fast, if it's not already too late. 1,000 Steps is a beguiling thriller and incisive coming-of-age story and a vivid portrait of a turbulent time and place by 3-time Edgar Award-winning and New York Times bestselling author T. Jefferson Parker. And I had never heard of this author before, but it is blurbed by Lee Child, and I did read the first Jack Reacher book this year, and I thought the humor was really good. And if it hadn't been for reading that book and for doing the library book clubs that I've been in, then this totally would not be my thing. Because I just assumed that I wasn't the kind of reader who would like crime thrillers. But I've actually liked all of them, so this is why we try new things and we stretch ourselves. I was getting kind of hung up on some of the kind of 70s lingo just because I wasn't born in the 70s, so I don't know this stuff. But apparently, this is actually a really new book. It came out in 2021. So yeah, I think I do want to continue reading it because I'm not bored. Oh, the first edition actually came out in January, so the author wrote it in 2021, but it wasn't released until January 2022. And it's filed under suspense fiction and mystery fiction. So yeah, I think this could be good. The back quotes praise for T. Jefferson Parker. If there's a better mystery writer around, well, there isn't. That was by the San Diego Union Tribune. Lee Child says a great story and a nuanced look at the nation in 1968. And above all, it proves no one inhabits characters as completely and intensely. Matt Anthony is a changing boy in a changing time, and you won't ever forget him. And then at the front, he said, might be Parker's crowning achievement. So he blurbed it twice. And then by John Hart, Parker is one of the greats in a story that will squeeze hearts and still sleep. Parker uses his prodigious talents to make his readers travelers in the past, white-knuckled and breathless for fear of missing a detail, a moment, the ride of a lifetime. And then C.J. Box said, T. Jefferson Parker is the poet of American crime fiction. And then Lisa C. said, a brave and daring writer. So, yeah, so far so good. I mean, I read 2 chapters and I'm enjoying it, and I'm interested to find out what happens. I didn't know if he was going to find his sister really quickly, and it was kind of just like a little bit of a throw in that to tell us that something bad is going to happen, but apparently, no, the sister's going to be missing for a majority of this book. But yeah, so this is not a bad book. I'm not DNFing right now. But we are going to go ahead and look into the next books. To try their chapters and see if I'm going to read them or DNF them. So we have got The Wise Women next. And let's go ahead and read the first page together. I think I had predicted that the men were going to suck and the women were going to come together somehow. And here are these little quotes at the beginning of it. And it says, a wise woman knows that the biggest investment she can make in her marriage is her husband. And then the next one says, just make sure your husband isn't a liar. And then the next one says, who needs a husband? So I'm thinking I'm going to be right about that. Also, this was also written in 2022. So I somehow picked up some newer books. All right. This is written, set in a couple of years ago. So 1, Summer Queens, New York, 2017. Nothing says I do like real estate. Not diamonds, not fancy white dress you'll wear only once, not a party that eats up all your savings in a single day. No, nothing says I want a future with you like owning a place together and building your love 1 square foot at a time. Together, a house becomes a home, and with it, the security that comes with knowledge that you've invested in one another. I would agree with that as someone who just bought a home with my husband after we've been married for over 12 years. We're an old couple. Just make sure you're there on the day the deal is done, or else you might be in for a nasty surprise. And whose fault would that be? Yours, dummy. That's who. Oh no, what in the world is going to happen in this book? I didn't think I would be intrigued, but I am already intrigued. The old house was a sweatbox in the summer, the heat along with Clementine's frustration trapped inside. Clementine was waiting for Steve to get back from one of his endless brainstorming retreats, yet another one for the carbonated vegetable water idea that wouldn't die, so she could ask him why the man he'd promised to call about the ductless air conditioning on the second floor had never showed up. And what's more, why Steve hadn't answered any of her texts. It was the third time the unit had broken down and her patience had run out. Clementine heard the screen door open and walked down the stairs as fast as she could, ready to have it out. But when she looked through the little lace curtain that covered the glass window on the door, she was shocked to see not Steve, but Mr. Gregorius, the house's former owner, standing in the sun and pressing the doorbell that no longer worked. "Mr. Gregorius, she said, opening the door wide. "How are you? How's life in the Greek islands?" Well, thank you, Miss Clementine," he said as he stepped inside. "We are just back for a visit, my granddaughter's christening." "Wow, another grandchild. Congratulations." Here it comes, she thought, the talk about children, plural. "Yes, well, you know it's good for kids to have a sibling." There it was. She was tired of having to explain that having only one child felt right for her. Hey, same here, same here. I don't have one yet, but I think I only want one. More than one's too much for me, personally. Where are we at? Oh, yeah. It's not like they were shoes. You didn't have to have a pair. But she knew he wouldn't let it go unless she gave him an answer he couldn't argue with. So she said, "Ah, yes, well, we're stopping at one. Better for the environment, carbon footprint and all that. At this rate, we're probably going to run out of water, so climate change." His tone made it clear he wasn't a believer. I know a lot of people that are like that. But instead of having the same conversation they'd had so many times before, he handed her a small plate of cookies covered in icing sugar. "My wife made these for Jonah. She remembered how much he likes them." The cookies were indeed a favorite of Jonah's. He'd brought nearly the entire plate of them from Mrs. Gregorius at a Christmas bazaar one year. Clementine knew he'd be thrilled to see them when he got home from the YMC day camp. "You got the oven on?" Mr. Gregorius asked. "No, the AC unit is broken." Clementine wondered if that's what he thought she did all day, stood and cooked. Besides, cooking is Steve's job. Okay, my husband's name is Steven, and I make him do all the cooking. So this is funny. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I actually really like this writing style. I write in first person, but this is very similar. This is what I talk about when I mean being economical, getting straight to the point. You're still providing descriptions, but they're limited to like one or two sentences, and then it just moves on. So I really like this because it is similar to my writing style, even though it's in third person. So, yeah. I definitely want to read more of the chapter and see how it goes, so I will be back with you soon. Wow. So, in chapter 1, she finds out that her husband has been lying to her the whole time, and they never bought the house. He just pretended like they bought the house, and instead they've been renting the house. And now he hasn't paid the last 3 months. Not only that, but she gave him a big sum for a down payment that was not only money that she had earned by herself, because he don't work, and her sister had helped her out too. And so he took all of that money to start up his business, where they had agreed to wait to do that because he was still in business school for 2 years. And they were going to get settled in the house instead because they already have a kid and they needed more space and all that kind of good stuff. So she found out he was lying to her the whole time. So she told him to leave, like to get out of the house. She was angry. And yeah, I don't blame her. I'm just like, I would not be able to do that because not kicking someone out for that. I'm saying not going off on him for all that crap. No way would I be able to take it. I'd just be like, no. So basically what it was that she had been the breadwinner. She was already at a job and had money and all of that kind of stuff. And one of the advice that her mom had given, because she's like an advice columnist, she's like, you know how men are with their egos, so it's okay for you to be the breadwinner as long as you make him feel like the bread baker. So because he had got, like, he was in business school, she was like, oh, kind of fed his ego and was like, oh, you're better with numbers, like, we need your business skills to get this house. and you can take care of all the financial matters. So that's how she didn't know that they were not homeowners. She didn't know. So, yeah. Whew. And he has no remorse whatsoever. He's like, I did this for us. Like, I need to start my business. And guess what his business is? Aquaveg. His business is about infusing water with vegetables. What? That's a horrible business idea. Because people can already infuse their water with whatever they want, so it doesn't make any sense. She pretty much tells him that, like, your idea's crap. And she's been spending all this extra money in order to support him because now he's been out of business school for a whole year. So she was working like 3 different jobs and stuff to support the family so that he could finish business school. And now he hasn't got his butt in a job, and he's spent the year talking to investors. So he's been flying out to different places, eating expensive lunches with people, all that sort of thing. And she's been left with the entire burden to support her family. And it's like, no, that's not fair. You can work on your business on the side while you pitch in. And then the other thing was in this book, when the guy shows up, he's like, I want to speak to the husband or whatever. It's because it had to do with a financial matter. And that was that he hadn't paid the rent in 3 months. And then you find out he don't make a penny for the family anyway. So, of course, as a woman, being like, oh, I need to divert the financial matters to the man is BS enough to make you pissed. But then for you to be the only one making any money and it still being like, oh, I need to talk to the man. I need to talk to the husband. Yeah, mm-mm. But she's like, I realize he's from a different generation, so I'm just going to let it go, even though it pisses me off. And I'm like, yeah, it ticks me off too. But anyway, so writing style wise and the drama of it, I think I would definitely like this book. And I like rainbow colors, so I guess color-wise, I like rainbow colors. So now we're kind of 2 for 2. However, what I will say is that with this one, it's not like it's a unique story so far. Like, all crime thrillers are kind of going to be like this. The only thing that's unique about it is that it's following a 16-year-old boy and not a, like, male detective in his late 30s to mid 50s. So it is slightly different. But I'm supposed to be reading 2 kind of like mystery thriller type books this coming month anyway, so I don't know that I also want to read this. Just because I don't like reading them that often. It's not my favorite genre. But it's not a DNFer either. But I think there are other things that are going to be similar. So out of the 2 so far, my pick as far as one to read the whole book is this one. But we have another book to try out. But also this one gives me vibes from The Husband that I recently read, because it has those issues. I heard the word like woman rage the other day, and I was like, yes, this makes me experience woman rage. Like all the little bitty things, how people treat women and act about women and view women that irritate women. So I'm like, yes, like the money thing and the guy lying and being like, oh, my business is more important than your happiness. And it's like, no, suck it up, douche. So anyway, I think this would make me have some righteous anger throughout reading the book, which can be fun to get angry. You like books that make you cry, but sometimes it's nice to have a book that makes you angry. And I feel like this one would do that. So anyway, the last book for this project is this one. And it's shorter. Not only pages, but actual height size. And I kind of like this little book. It's not little. It's like a 5x8. So it's the same size as a paperback, but it's a hardback. And I didn't like go measure it, but I have books. And typically, your hardbacks are 6x9. So this is it's kind of a shorty. A bit of a shorty. And that one book that I just showed you was a bit taller than average. So you can see better with this. So, anyway. So yeah, I'm going to try this out. But also, I'm supposed to read y'all what the story's actually about. Well, after I read the first chapter, I get to read the blurb. Because I was going into this stuff blind. So I literally didn't know anything when I was reading the first chapter. Because I wanted to, like, be a good judge of it without knowing what was coming and letting that bias my opinion. So I'm going to read the blurb now, and then we'll dive into that third book in the project. A witty and wildly enjoyable novel about the two adult daughters. What? Oh, so I guess there's going to be multiple POVs? And this one is, like, first person. I think it was first person. It was written really well. When a book is written really well, you forget what perspective it's in because it has that closeness. So, I'm trying to see. So it's not present tense. It is past tense, which normally kind of slows down the narrative as well. It's not as immediate as present tense, but it felt immediate. So they did a really good job with it, and not all authors can do that and have the same immediacy. I'm trying to see if I'm pretty sure it's first person, but maybe it's not. It's not! Oh my gosh! It's not even first person. So it is third person past tense, but it reads like a first person present tense because she has a good writing style. So yeah, okay, that is amazing. That's amazing. That does not normally happen, okay? Oh, my back is hurting. And my bra's too tight and my booty shaking from the left to the right. I'm just kidding. I'm not even wearing a bra right now. I'm still in my pajamas. But anyway, we're going to move on to the... Wait, I still didn't read the blurb, did I? Or did I? I thought I just read it, but I don't even remember now, so I don't think I read it. I think I started talking about... I don't know what I did. I am losing it. Oh, because I got to the sister part, and I was like, what? It's going to be dual perspective? Okay, so I'm going to read it now. Popular advice columnist Wendy Wise... Oh, that's where the title comes from, Wise. The wise women. I get it. Because they're wises. Popular advice columnist Wendy Wise has been skillfully advising the magazine readers who write to her seeking help for 4 decades. So why are her own daughters' lives such a mess? Clementine, which is who we were reading from, the working mother of a 6-year-old boy, has just discovered that she is actually renting the Queen's home that she thought she owned because her husband, Steve, secretly funneled their money into his flailing startup. Meanwhile, her sister Barb has overextended herself at her architecture firm and reunited semi-unhappily with her cheating girlfriend. Oh my. When Steve goes MIA and Clementine receives an eviction notice, Wendy swoops in to save the day, even though her daughters, who are holding on to some resentments from childhood... Wait, what? I just totally, didn't even read that because I was thinking about other stuff, because ADD. When Steve goes... See how I can, my thoughts are going somewhere else, even though I'm still reading something, but I don't comprehend what I read at all? That's ADD. Anyway, when Steve goes MIA and Clementine receives an eviction notice, Wendy swoops in to save the day, even though her daughters, who are holding on to some resentments from childhood, haven't asked for her help. But as soon as Wendy sets her sights on hunting down her rogue son-in-law, Barb and Clementine quickly discover that their mother has been hiding more than a few problems of her own. As the three women confront the disappointments and heartaches that have accumulated among them over the years, they discover that while the future may look entirely different from the one they've expected, it may be even brighter than they'd hoped. So when I said my brain was thinking about something else, when I initially came up with like the concept for this video with the rainbow covers, it was to discover if they have bright and cheery content, which the colors would suggest, or if they are gay, because we know rainbows is like a symbol for LGBT, so sometimes you will find LGBT books that are brightly colored with rainbows. So now we know that one of the girls, one of the sisters, who might be a POV character, I'm not sure because I've only read one chapter, is part of the LGBT community. So I don't know if she's lesbian or if she identifies as pan or bi or something. But she has a girlfriend, so we know she's part of it. Yes, my dear. My husband poked his head. He's really funny. He was like, he's very silent, so he just poked his head and then he went, because he knows it makes me laugh. But anyway, yeah, we're gonna get started on this one. This is the one I predicted to be my favorite, but maybe it'll be the worst since I've had good luck with the other two. I don't know, or maybe it'll be really good. But I'm thinking I definitely do want to read this. Like, I don't want to DNF this. This seems like fun. I think I probably will not read that first book because I could leave it, if that makes sense. Like, at this point, if I DNF it, I'm not going to miss it. And I think that kind of needs to be one of my big determiners. So this one, I'll probably just go ahead and DNF it. But it was good. It was good. So it might be something that I, like, put on a list to try later as far as reading the whole book. I know it's getting pretty dark in here, but I'm going to go ahead and read. Let's read the, like, the first page or so together. The Dream of the Blue Fox. So they ran, threaded through the breaches. What? So they ran, threaded through the breaches, found the seams. So they ran with a memory of the city without buildings. So they navigated two worlds, the new and the old. When the ancient Sebed had been green with reeds and lakes, and the low salt-poisoned trees with their thick moss-encrusted limbs upon which they might sleep. That is so dense. Now they must come to rest on a half-collapsed roofs and in the shadows of the great rocks out in the... Why? Okay, so let me show you what I'm talking about when I say, like, this is just too dense. All right. You never want to have a sentence with more than like 5 prepositions because you need to break those suckers down because you're expecting the reader to hold on to a lot of information. So look, you've got to rest, that's 1. On a half-collapsed roof, that's 2. In the shadows, 3. Of the great rocks, 4. Out in the desert, 5. See, that becomes a lot, it makes it dense. Anyway, it's too much to swallow, and that's why when you read it, you just get out of breath, because there's no commas or anything breaking it up. It's just too much. I don't like writing styles like that. And as you can see up here, it's like the same thing throughout, where it's just a lot of that, and it's trying to put too much in each sentence. Anyway, yeah, it's just why when you read it, you run out of breath. Now they must dream where they could, and trust in the lookout who would not sleep. Must trust in how thought danced from mind to mind, how there was nothing but lightness to that. How they knew... Why are you repeating like, all the words? It's just like, duh, duh, duh. Like, so much repetition. These are called echo words. You've got now, and then you've got now in the next one, and then you've got... how, and then how, and the next... It's very repetitive. The so and so and so. This is what I'm talking about. I can piece out writing styles. So when I talk about it, I'm like, there's certain ones I like, there's certain ones I don't. And this is too much. They were the color of sand, which might shift and stall, pass between the paws unnoticed, but would never not be there. Would never... See, we still haven't been introduced to a character, and we still haven't been introduced to any action. This is not how you start a book. Would never become weathered down because it was already what it was meant to become. One from another in the night, they snapped at the winking Why? Oh my gosh. Winking rescue lights of giant fireflies. It's too much. They're trying too hard. Savored the crunch of wings, the collapse of Why are you just putting in these big words? Carapace? What? I don't even know what that is, okay? I'm a 32-year-old well-educated person. I don't know what carapace is. I'm just like, why? I don't like it. Let in the coolness of the dark, played games in the aftermath, searched for the hidden water, dug their own shallow wells, licked at the salt when needed. Why are we getting all these needless descriptions? I don't know. Just give it to me plain. Give it to me plain. Don't try to show me every little thing, and then I have to try to figure out what in the hell you're telling me. Just tell me where they're at and what's going on. This is too stinking much. I don't like it. I don't like it. Matted and had cubs. Some looked up at the stars, distant, and for a moment contemplated what lay beyond, even though it meant nothing more to them than the fireflies. Until Nocturnalia. Why are you putting in these weird words? You are in the first chapter. You don't need to be introducing anything that's tripping up readers. Oh my gosh. Until the blue fox. Why is there a fox? Okay, just freaking get to the point already. This is ridiculous. For one night, there came a flare of blue across the heavens, and a nimble quicksilver thought in their heads that was both familiar and strange. They sat at the border between the desert and the city, hearts pumping fast, motionless but ready to leap, to run, to bite. I don't like the way they use repetition. It's not effective to me. Out across the desert came the source, another thing we know nothing about. At a trot, with a familiar grin of fangs, the blue fox, larger than them by half, projecting to them what he wanted to project. Love, power, fate, destiny, chance. I still have not been introduced to a singular character, so I don't care if this monster comes and, eats their heads. I don't care. Love, power, fate, destiny, chance. Showing them another world, another way. Why do I care? I don't. But why should they have a leader? Why should they not roam like wild things? For they were wild things. Why should they have a purpose? For they were wild oh my gosh. This is why I would pull my hair out when stuff would be given to us in English classes to read that sucked. Because I would just be like, I don't like this. I don't like it at all. It's crappy. And look, we are already on page 5, and there has not been any dialogue. That is not how you write a book. You have dialogue in it, okay? Dialogue is what makes things go. The whole chapter has no dialogue. Look, we're on to chapter 2. Are we going to get any dialogue anywhere soon? Okay, finally, you get some dialogue, okay? And this is on page 8. Unacceptable. Let's see if the dialogue's any good or if it's super stiff. Want to take a guess what it's going to be? Dialogue should flow and make sense even if it's taken where there's no context. It should still flow and make sense. Alright? So if there's a bunch of narrative to lead up to it, then that's not a good way to do your dialogue either. Okay. Is this the place? Chen asked, looking around. Such jump, Grayson said. Old haunts never look the same, Ma said. Would be a shame not to save it, no matter how shoddy, Grayson said. Okay, so you got 4 pieces of dialogue in a row, and you're not using any action. Screw saying so-and-so said and give me action. What are they doing? Just be like, Grayson ran his foot through the dirt or whatever. Such a dump. That would be better than just such a dump, Grayson said. It makes it very boom, 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 boom. And that's boring. That's boring. Stilted. And then look, the next line is again, Chen said, Moss said. All of these are just... What? While we're only human, Grayson might joke, but it was because only Grayson of the 3 could make that claim. What? I guess that's referencing something else. But anyway, this is stilted. This is not good. Now my thing is not against the word so-and-so said. It's just combine it with some action. So like this one, Moss said completing the ritual. That's good, because you're getting some information there. It breaks it up a little bit. But to have 5 pieces that were all just indicating who was talking, you can do that with action. Have them do something, and that will let me know that they're the one speaking, without having to do it like it's a script, okay? Just, no, I'm already done. I'm done with this book. I don't even care anymore. I am fed up. And I thought that this one was going to be great based off the cover, but it's not. Okay, let's see how bad this blurb is. This is Walden gone horribly wrong. Okay, well, I know that the Walden stuff is supposed to be super boring and pretentious. So I would say that, yes, it's Walden-esque or worse. Anyway, a messianic blue fox who slips through warrens of time and space on a mysterious mission, a homeless woman haunted by a demon who finds the key to all things in a strange journal, 3 ragtag rebels waging an endless war for the fate of the world against a ruthless corporation, a raving madman who wanders the desert, lost in the past, besieged by his own creation, an invisible monster whose name he has forgotten and whose purpose remains hidden. Jeff VanderMeer's Dead Astronauts presents a city with no name of its own, where in the shadows of the all-powerful company lives human and otherwise converge in terrifying and miraculous ways. At stake, the fate of the future, the fate of the earth, all the earths. Okay. Does this cover say any of that? No. You've got astronauts on here. This makes me think some sort of space opera. Maybe there is something having to do with going through time, which I mentioned in my prediction video. And apparently this fox does go through time and space. So I get the way the color is done, because that did tell me that. And I did guess something about, like, maybe there's some kind of warring thing that's happening, and that's why they're fleeing or something. So I kind of predicted some of that with the cover. But this blurb does not tell me it's a space opera, or that it's, it seems very experimental to me. It doesn't seem to fit, nicely into a regular genre. So yeah, no. Can we throw this book? Let's see what people had to say about it. Jeff VanderMeer's Southern Reach trilogy was an ever-creeping map of the apocalypse. With Bourne, he continues his investigation into the malevolent grace of the world, and it's a thorough marvel. Creepy and fascinating, says Stephen King. Oh my. Maybe the most beautifully written and believable post-apocalyptic tale in recent memory. Unsettling. Yeah, the reading experience is unsettling. And unputdownable. Nope, I disagree highly. Like an old-fashioned adventure story, maybe. Only weirder. Beautifully written. Oh no, I do not agree with that. And not at all old-fashioned. You going down the drain is what you're going. More than just a horror novel, there's something Poe-like in this tightening, increasingly paranoid focus. But where Poe kept his most vicious blows relatively oblique, VanderMeer drives them deep, albeit in a corkscrewing way that is no less cruel and exquisite. And that was by N.K. Jemisin. So now I'm like, I'm questioning reading N.K. Jemisin now if they love this book so much. And same thing with Stephen King. But see how short his was? So maybe he was lying. Maybe he was lying. He was just like, let me just use 2 buzzwords and we'll blurb it that way. Oh, but you see what? It's not even on this book that they're talking about. They're talking about the Southern Reach trilogy. So maybe that one's good. What was the one that N.K. Jemisin was talking about? Authority. Okay, so not this book. So I'll probably still try them. But yeah, no. 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 Hey, Bear. Hey, Bear. Bear. Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. Come here. Come here. Mommy is stressed. I have anxiety after reading a horrible book. I need my emotional support animal. Where are you going? I'm still anxious. Come here. Bear. Bear. He legitimately is my emotional support animal, and like my blood pressure is high now after all that ranting. Hey, cutie. Hey, are you here to calm me down? Come here. Are you gonna bring me the ball? You wanna bring me tug? You wanna do tug? Bear, you wanna do tug? Bring me tug. There you go. That's a good boy, yes. That's a good boy. I got it. Whoop! You gonna give it for me, baby. You gonna give it for me. Woo! Yes. Yes. You gonna release mommy's good endorphins from your cute little face? Make mommy feel better? Yes. Yes. Oh, I love you. I love you. You are so cute. You is. You is. You gonna get it from me? Whoop! There you go. Good boy. Good boy. He's like, okay, I did my job. Oh, man. Are you done? Are you coming to me with a tennis ball? I think he's done. All right, that helped a little. Seriously, that book made me so mad.